because the QoS is what delivers the QoE. When things are working well and how they're being performed, the experience is well and good. Now, is that different between live and on demand? We're talking here today about the aspects of it's a critical role in live streaming. So obviously, there's a difference between live and on demand contained. Sean, you're dealing with YouTube right now, and so in this particular instance, what's your opinion about that?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. I think at the end of the day, the QoE metrics that we measure from an end user perspective are more or less the same. But in a live workflow, there are more QoS elements and more potential breaking points. And therefore, I think it's personally more important to measure in real time, anyways, the QoE. And I would just take a step back and say, at YouTube, which obviously is majority VOD platform, I am focused on, signal acquisition and live OTT. So that is always the angle that I'll take when, sort of talking about QoS, what types of metrics matter to us, how we think about the end-to-end signal chain. It's always in the context of a live workflow. That's kind of my background. The only thing I could say that's I don't know if it's necessarily different or should be different, but I feel in VOD workflows we not necessarily over index, but relative to live, index more heavily on perceptual quality metrics. A, because it's easier to compute, and B, there's a lot more, some might disagree, but I would argue, creative intent that in a Hollywood movie than maybe a sports production, that you want to maintain the integrity of the pixels and the way that they're displayed on your screens and devices. And I think right now there's a trend in the industry to bring that same level of rigor of the actual bit flow and pixel quality monitoring to the live workflows.
Yeah, the live workflows, just face it, it's live. You really don't have much, flexibility on that to make that, correct it if there's a problem with it. At Paramount, Nishant, when you're working on this, now you're dealing with, CBS News, you're dealing with the live sports, you're kind of right in the midst of that. Now, are you looking at this a little different as well? But is this kind of a consistent kind of solution that you're trying to fill?
Yeah, so when we go back to your main earlier question on differentiating between VOD and live, yes, how we approach monitoring of a live system is hell lot different than what we approach on a VOD system. There is a lot of leverage we have when we look at our VOD content that we can use to enhance our quality or experience. Pre-warming being one, being being ability to test it out is also another one. When we come to about live streaming, any content, be it sports, be a news channel, you are acting in real time. Your manifest window is rolling out quickly. You have to monitor all the points within your pipeline that they are performing as they should be. And if they are not performing, what are your backup plans? How do you want to transition to them? And those all actions need to be taken in real time. This will, from a nerd point of view, focus on QoE, but eventually it's going to relate to a QoS, focus on QoS, but it'll eventually relate to a QoE to the end user.
Mm-hmm. And silly question in many ways is, when do you realize the need to switch over? Is it just like whoever's running it at the moment is like, oh, we're just switching over to QoE versus QoS?
No, so my focus, being from the engineering point of view, would always be at the QoS. I will be looking at the QoS metrics in the real time when we're doing. QoE is more of a reflection for me. When then event is done, how we can learn from it and improve the next one to make it better. But when we're doing anything in real time, it will be QoS only. You look at the metrics or your monitoring point coming from a different integration point of the system, be your encoder packager or your monetization system, that all of them are performing as they're supposed to be. And if there are red flags, how do you switch over to the backup path? So,
Yeah,
and those trade-off also you have to make in the real time. It depends on the scale of the event, the quality that you want to deliver for the event, how many resources you have to do it, whether you want to do that manually, where someone need to take an action, or you want to make them automated switch over because you can afford that there.